All right, let's talk about a number. And I mean, this isn't just any number. It's one that can totally change how you move through the world, how you sleep, heck, even how your brain actually works. You know that feeling, right? It's 3 a.m., you're just lying there, staring at the ceiling, and your mind is just racing. What if the car breaks down? What about a surprise medical bill? What if the dog gets sick? It's a feeling that, honestly, way too many of us know. But what if I told you there's a specific number, a dollar amount, that could just quiet all of that down? A number that's like a tipping point, taking you from that constant state of stress to a place where you actually feel in control. And that number? It's $10,000. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but it's not just some random number I pulled out of a hat. There's real psychology, real math behind why this amount, specifically, creates such a huge shift in your life. It's a total game changer. Think about it. Before you have that cushion, life is just one defensive calculation after another. You're in the grocery store, right? Doing that mental math, debating the good cereal versus the one that kind of tastes like cardboard. Or your friends invite you out to dinner, and you got to come up with some excuse because you know that one $25 meal could wreck your whole budget for the week. You're always playing defense. Okay, so what happens when you actually hit that $10,000 mark? Well, the biggest change, it's not about what you can suddenly buy. It's what happens up here, inside your head. It's a massive internal shift. For starters, your entire relationship with risk changes. When you have no savings, every big choice, like should I take a new job, should we move, it feels absolutely terrifying. But with that 10 grand safety net, suddenly those same decisions feel manageable. You might actually have the confidence to go ask for that raise or, take that course to level up your skills. That buffer gives you permission to think bigger than just how do I survive this month? And get this, it's not just a feeling, it is literally physiological. Scientists have shown that having that financial security actually lowers the amount of cortisol, your body's main stress hormone, floating around in your system. So hitting this goal doesn't just change your bank account, it literally changes your brain chemistry. How wild is that? Here's a perfect example. The check engine light comes on. With no savings, that little light feels like a ticking time bomb for your finances, right? Instant panic. But with 10 grand in the bank, that same light is just an eye roll. It's an annoyance, a problem you'll deal with. And that shift from pure panic to mild inconvenience, that feeling echoes through everything. And this all boils down to something experts call the emergency fund effect. And the funny thing is, the best part isn't even spending the money. It's the incredible peace of mind you get just from knowing it's there, knowing you can handle whatever life throws at you. All right, so this foundation isn't just about stopping bad things from happening. It's about making good things happen. And this is where it gets really fun. Let's get practical for a second. $10,000 basically makes you immune to most of the common financial curveballs that knock people off track. We're talking about most car repairs, surprise medical stuff, and here's the big one, it can buy you 3 to 6 months of runway if you lose your job. And that's huge. That's the difference between having to take the first job you're offered and having the time to find the right one. But here's where we pivot. This money stops being a shield and it becomes a key. It doesn't just solve problems anymore. It starts unlocking doors to opportunities you probably never even let yourself think about. Like that $2,000 certification that could boost your salary by 10 grand a year, suddenly that's not a scary expense. It's a no-brainer investment. Maybe you can actually chip in on a friend's cool startup idea. And when you go to negotiate your salary, you walk in with so much more power because you aren't desperate. You finally have the headspace to start thinking about investing, about making your money grow. Okay, I know, hearing that $10,000 number can feel overwhelming. Like, how am I ever gonna get there? But listen, the key is you don't save it all at once. It's all about building that foundation, one brick at a time. And this right here, this is maybe the most important part. It's a mindset shift. The people who really nail this, they don't treat saving like some crash diet they're gonna suffer through and then quit. No, they actually change their identity. They become a person who saves. And once that's who you are, it shapes every little decision you make with your money. And there's a rhythm to it, Getting that first $1,000 in the bank it's brutal. It feels like a fight every single day. But then the second 1,000, it's noticeably easier. The habits are starting to stick. By the time you're saving your 5th or 6th thousand, it almost becomes automatic. That momentum is a powerful thing. So the big question, where does this money even come from?
Well, for a lot of us, the crazy thing is, it's already there. The average person spends something like 3 grand a year on stuff like daily coffees, eating out, just convenience buys. If you can just consciously redirect a piece of that, you'll build that foundation way faster than you think.
So please, don't get hung up on the starting amount. It doesn't matter. The people who win at this start small. Maybe it's $50 a month, maybe it's 25. The number doesn't matter as much as the habit. Consistency, that's the magic ingredient here, not how much you put in on day one. Okay, last thing. Let's talk about the real prize at the end of all this. Because it's not really about the money. It's about who you become once all that mental and emotional energy isn't being sucked up by constant money stress. There's this thing psychologists call decision fatigue, and it's real. It's that exhaustion you feel from making a million tiny little money decisions all day long. Can I afford this coffee? Should I buy this for lunch? What happens if I spend this? Every single one of those questions drains your brain power. But with 10 grand in the bank, bam, like 90% of those little calculations just vanish. Let's go back to the grocery store one last time. You're not walking down the aisles choosing food based on what you can afford. You're choosing what you actually want to eat. And let me tell you, that is a kind of freedom that is so much deeper than you can imagine. So as we wrap up here, I just want you to remember this. The goal isn't the number. It's not about the money in the bank. The money is just the tool. The real prize is something else entirely. The real prize is the person you get to be without all that stress. The parent you can be, the friend, the creative person, the professional you can be when you're not constantly being dragged down by money worries. So the question I want to leave you with isn't just how can I save the money? It's who will I be when I do?